Welcome back to the Thoughtful Techie Cloud YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to launch your first Amazon EC2 instance in the cloud. If you're new here, this channel is dedicated to teaching you AWS, so let's go. Okay, so Amazon EC2 is secure and resizable compute capacity for virtually any workload in the cloud. Now, there's a ton that we could talk about for Amazon EC2, instance types and families and sizes and when to use one instance type over another. But in this video, I'm going to show you specifically how to launch your first EC2 instance. So I'm going to jump over to the management console right now. Welcome to the AWS Management Console in all its glory. Now, for the purposes of this demo, we're going to focus on launching the EC2 instance in the management console. In production and things like that, you would likely launch these from the command line interface, CloudFormation templates, Terraform. You might use the AWS SDK to launch your EC2 instances for a workload that you're building. But this is geared towards beginners launching your first Amazon EC2 instance. Now, if this AWS Management Console doesn't look familiar, you're going to need an AWS account to set all this up. I'm going to link to a video that will show you how to open up an AWS free tier account if you don't already have an AWS account. So if you haven't opened up your account yet, go ahead and jump over to that video, which I'm going to link to in this video. Okay. So this will assume that you do have an AWS account and you'll log into your AWS Management Console with username and password and perhaps even multi-factor authentication if you have it enabled. So this is the landing page. Now, from time to time, AWS does modify the AWS Management Console, so your management console might look a little bit different, but the premise in how you navigate is generally the same. So I'm going to go up here to the search bar and type in EC2, and then it's going to drop me into EC2 right here, the service. Now, before we go any further, I want to point out to your attention what region we're in. Now, I'm in Northern Virginia right now. The region is a little bit obstructed by my camera, but you can see me wiggling the mouse here in the corner. I'm located in California, so I'm going to hit the drop down and navigate, and I'm going to deploy my instance here in California. Again, in general, you want to deploy your compute as close to your end user as you can to reduce latency and increase performance. But for the purposes of this demo, we're not focused on that. We're just focused on launching the first one. I'm going to put my EC2 instance in California because that's where I'm located. So when we go to log into this thing, it'll just be a little bit more responsive. Typically for what we're going to do here, just logging in and kind of navigating the command line, it's going to be negligible in terms of where we put the EC2 instance. But as a best practice, we're going to bring it close to us. All right, so this is the dashboard for the EC2 Management Console. Let me make this larger so you can take a closer look. Let's see, how does that look? Yeah, that looks pretty good. Cool. Yeah, so I zoomed in on there for you. We're at the EC2 dashboard now. This is going to be a quick, easy, and painless demo. If you notice here, we have 0 instances running in the Northern California region. I'm going to click on instances running, and it's going to bring me to a list here, which confirms there are, in fact, no instances running. Now, what we want to do here is we want to launch an instance. So literally right now, hold on to your seat, strap on your socks, because they might be blown off because we're getting ready to launch an instance. We're going to click on Launch Instance right here. And let's see here. This is where we're going to launch an instance. Amazon EC2 allows you to create virtual machines, or what we call instances, that run on the AWS Cloud, which will allow you to quickly get started by following the simple steps I'm about to walk you through. As a best practice, you want to name your EC2 instances. That's called a tag, because if you deploy a lot of EC2 instances and they're untagged, who knows what they do, where they belong, and that type of thing. I'm going to call this one the Thoughtful Techie Cloud Instance. So that's going to be the tag for my EC2 instance. Now, we can spin up all types of compute in AWS. We can do Amazon Linux, we can do Ubuntu, we can do Windows, we can do Red Hat, we can do SUSE Linux, Debian, all types of cool stuff. We can even spin up Mac OS in certain regions. But in this demo, we're going to spin up just a simple Amazon Linux instance. So I'm going to click on Amazon Linux here. Now, we're going to focus on spinning up a free tier eligible instance. This will allow you to run over here, as it states, EC2 instance includes 750 hours of T2 micro instances or T3 micro instances in certain regions where the T2s are unavailable. And yeah, so if you've just opened up that AWS free tier account, we're going to focus on free tier stuff. Now, you still got to shut the stuff down because you wouldn't want to exceed the number of hours that these things run and incur cost. I'm just going to go with the first one here that says free tier eligible Amazon Linux 2 AMI kernel 5.10. Nothing fancy. I'm just going to select that. Okay, I'm going to scroll down here to instance type. This is a T2 micro, which we're going to use. Now, I'm going to select a key pair, and let's see here. I'm just going to type in the create a key pair, and I'm going to make it RSA and PIM. We really will not need this for this demo, but this is for a private key if you want to attach to your instance, like say from your workstation outside of the cloud or from another workstation that's not within the cloud. So I'm just going to name it key pair, Thoughtful Techie Cloud. And let's just take all the defaults, say create the key pair. Okay, we've created the key pair. That automatically downloads to your workstation. You're going to want to hold on to that. All right, network settings, just going to go with all the defaults. Default VPC, no preference for the subnet. We'll allow it to just deploy this into the default VPC. Again, taking all the defaults here. I'm going to disable allow SSH traffic because we're going to use a special way to connect within the management console to connect to this device for this demo. I'm going to go with the default storage of 8 gigabytes, putting it on general purpose 2. Again, not even going into the advanced details, just taking the defaults on this. And we are going to launch the instance. Okay, we are now launching the instance. That instance has initiated its launch. We're going to click on the instance ID to carry us back to the EC2 dashboard. Now, right now, the instance is pending. So let's just do a quick refresh here of the AWS Management Console. Okay, that's still pending. So I'm going to pause this video until that instance state. Oh, well, wow, that was quick. It's already saying running. So this instance is already deployed. Wow, that was very fast. So this is already deployed. Let's go ahead and check this out. So I clicked on the little tick mark here next to the instance, and we're going to get some details about this particular instance. Some of the details here, instance ID, which we already have, the public version 4 IP address right here, the private IP address, which is behind within the subnet, the instance state is running, the host name of the instance, all this good stuff here. So now for the fun part, let's go ahead and connect to this instance. Now, before you can connect to it, the way we're going to do it, you need to have this little check mark ticked by this particular row respective to your EC2 instance that you just launched. So I'm going to go to connect. Alrighty. Now, there are different ways to connect to this. We're going to connect to this very simply from the AWS Management Console using something called EC2 Instance Connect, which is already pre-selected. I'm going to leave the default username in there because that's the default username for the Amazon Linux instance type, Amazon machine image. Let's click on connect. Okay, now if you notice here, we have a slight problem, and that's because we need to go back and do something. Can you take a wild guess as to what it was? All right, I'll remind you. Remember when it was asking us how do we want to connect and I unchecked SSH? What I thought it was going to do was assign us to a default security group. But I'm in California region, and when I tested this, I was in Northern Virginia. So my Northern Virginia region had a default security group, which it placed it in, which gave me access from the Amazon Management Console, AWS Management Console, to connect to this instance. But we are about to fix this right now. Okay, I've navigated back to the EC2 dashboard, and what we need to do is go down to where it says Details. We're looking for the Security tab because we need to fix a little error here. All right, so Security, click on that. Now, if you notice, we need to check our security group, which has been associated with this. This is associated with this particular security group. Now, if you don't know what a security group is, a security group is basically a software-defined firewall which protects your EC2 instance. And this is the security group by default, which this EC2 instance that we just spun up is attached to. And the reason why we're not able to SSH to it is because there's no inbound rule to SSH. So for the purposes of this demo, I am going to edit the inbound rules. I'm going to add a rule. I'm going to, for my protocol, I'm going to select SSH right here. Now, for the source, I want to iterate this, say this right now. I'm going to say IP any just for this test, all right? This is not a best practice. This is strictly for the sake of this demo for you to check this out, okay? So just want to make sure I've said that. We'll select this. Okay, boom, there we go. And we're going to say save the rules. All right, now our inbound rules now allow SSH. So let's go back to the EC2 instances running, and let's go back up to connect. And EC2 instance connect is selected. Scroll down to connect, and boom, we're in. Like they say on the movies, right? And this is that EC2 instance. I'm glad we ran into that little troubleshooting issue. You know, sometimes when you're doing these screen records, you see what you're seeing, but you don't see it like you see it if you weren't doing the screen record. I'm sure anybody that's done a screen record can relate. But we're in that EC2 instance right now. This is the host name right here. What else? This is the internal IP address, and you can go and confirm this on the EC2 details on the dashboard. You can do regular Linux commands. So let's do a little ls. Do a little ls. There's nothing to see here. Let's back up here one level, then do an ls. Back to the home. Okay, come on, ls command. There it goes. Yeah, so that's just the folder we were in. Let's do a sudo yum update just to show you some activity here, that this is working. Yeah, just doing the updates. I'll just say yes to that for now. Updates are loading, just like any old regular Linux instance. And yeah, you can do what you will with this Amazon EC2 instance. But yeah, that's how you launch your first EC2 instance. Let's go back to the dashboard here, and we are going to terminate this thing. Okay, I had to refresh that. And I'm just going to select the tick box here, go to instance state, and go to terminate. This will get rid of it and any charges that could possibly accrue, which this was free tier, so you should be okay if you have the AWS free tier status. Terminate the instance, shutting it down. Do a little refresh here. Boom, terminate it. And that's it. You've now learned how to launch your first Amazon EC2 instance. We got to troubleshoot a little bit. Got to learn a little bit about security groups, so you might have even learned more than you thought you were going to learn. Hope you liked this video. Go ahead and comment below with your feedback on what videos you'd like to see next and any questions you have. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. And as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.